Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Ian, you're going to have to add another number to that list because I have to just let you know how excited I am to be here. It's my first time in this role that I've been able to come to this part of the world and talk to you, so forgive me if I get a little bit overexcited. So today I'm going to talk to you about complex crypto investigations. And in particular, I'm going to talk to you about a capability that we have at Chainalysis called investigations and special programs. I'll tell you a little bit about who we are, I'll talk to you about what we do, and then I'll explain some of the solutions that we provide. So, who are we then? Okay, we are a group of advanced specialist investigators who work alongside our compliance and investigations tools to add an extra level of support to those out there who are undertaking investigations. You'll hear today some conversations about centers of excellence. We encourage those that we work with to create these centers of excellence, bringing the experts from particular component parts together to power that particular topic. So we've taken our own advice and we've in essence created a center of excellence at Chainalysis for investigations. And what we do is we sit at the core of the company and we have access to that back-end data. So that combination of the expertise and the data, it allows us to really maximize the intelligence value that the data presents. And it also allows us to use the data in a way that enables us to solve some of the more complex issues that we're facing in investigations today. So we do this in a number of ways. We try and de-anonymize what's going on the blockchains. So we de-anonymize servers and we try and help you understand better what it is that you're actually seeing when you're using our tools. And we also work alongside other intelligence systems. So these are internal and external systems, bringing additional data into the mix and further powering that intelligence development and opportunity to identify new leads. And we work both proactively and reactively. So proactively, I'm talking about building knowledge, better understanding the threat to enable all of you out there to more effectively mitigate the issues that we're dealing with. And then in respect of reactive investigations, we will actually work alongside you, hand in hand, helping you deal with whatever issues it is that you have to deal with when you're trying to achieve your ultimate goal. And we want to help you follow the money. That's ultimately what we want to do. We want to help you follow that money. We want to help you understand the value of the activities that the illicit activity you're looking at is building. And ultimately, we want to find opportunities for you to stop those flows of money, to freeze those assets, and for law enforcement to then be in a position to legally seize them. And overall, that's going to increase the asset recovery totals, which at the end of the day is a fantastic thing. So we do our work on a number of levels operationally, an intelligence basis, and various investigative components. And the ultimate goal is to provide this end-to-end investigation support. So looking at the first end of this, this case triage element that we can offer is incredibly important. We can actually dig into our data and help you out there understand your own priorities so as you can focus your efforts and your resources. So we can do that for you. We can look at the geographical issues that you might be facing. Particular businesses might have certain threats. We can find that for you. And then we can dig even deeper and we can actually start looking at the clusters of interest. Who are the perpetrators that are actually causing the biggest issues? And we'll do that by using our specialist capabilities. And we have a number of advanced techniques, from demixing through to advanced DeFi capabilities, manual token tracing, all sorts of things. And then we'll continue to support you with those capabilities. As I said before, hand in hand, working with you on your cases, walking you through what's needed, all the way to the end goal of prosecutorial support. Will help the prosecutors understand what's needed to formally seize those assets or successfully achieve a prosecution. And we do all this with subject matter experts. Now, of course, they're subject matter experts when it comes to blockchain and crypto analytics, but the team is also made up of subject matter experts in the actual threats that we're dealing with. So there are cybercrime experts, there are experts in particular national security threats, DeFi experts, there's a wide range. And a number of us come from ex-law enforcement and intelligence backgrounds and compliance environments within the exchanges as well. So we have a broad range of knowledge and we understand what it is that you're trying to do. And we're also data scientists. We're a data company after all, so we really need to know what we're doing with that, but we do. And we are exploring that data in a whole new way. And we're in essence able to capacity build with you by working alongside you, almost functioning like an extra arm to your capability. We'll help you understand our advanced tracing capabilities. We'll help you understand our data to prepare cases for court. Is it co-spend? Break down that cluster. Is it heuristics? Is it something that you need to parallel reconstruct or corroborate? And of course, we will help you present that in a way that will go well at court. So let's dig into some of the solutions then in a little bit more depth. So first and foremost, let's talk about threat assessments. Something we do a lot of is building this knowledge that I spoke about before. We really need everybody out there to understand the threats and be able to mitigate them in the most effective way possible. And we cover a range of topics. We've done threat assessments on ransomware. I'll talk a little bit more in a minute about one of them. But we also look at money laundering typologies, other national security threats. And today I'd like to tell you a little bit about the DPRK threat itself, the North Korean Lazarus group. Now, they have been active for quite some time, and as I'm sure you're all aware, there are many hacks now that have been directly attributed to them. And we have been able to dig into our data and analyze these hacks and really start to understand what it is that they are doing, looking into the fingerprints, the patterns, and ultimately then being able to give assessments on whether further hacks that are taking place can also be attributed to this threat. And looking at these fingerprints, we analyze certain aspects. We look at the attack vector. When it comes to DPRK, they are very sophisticated when it comes to their phishing lures and their advanced social engineering techniques. That increases the success of the delivery of malware and attack vector accesses. We've also seen server exploitations, and more recently, we have also seen the attack on smart coin vulnerabilities. Looking at crypto movements themselves then, they are very astute. They look at lots of different obfuscation methodologies. So they'll steal the assets and they'll take what they can get, multiple assets. They will swap, they will chain hop, they will use mixing services. They often use test deposits, small amounts followed by larger amounts. They use consolidation wallets, and they use wallets which, of course, preferential without know your customer checks. And then there are trends when it comes to their cash-out methodologies as well. We often see the funds moving to storage wallets where they will sit idle for quite some time. And then they will move, again, through further obfuscation techniques out to over-the-counter brokers and other exchanges. But there is a definite preference for Asian-based entities which I suppose is not really unsurprising considering the geographic. I'd now like to briefly mention ransomware, another significant threat affecting us all globally. And it's a very diverse threat in terms of its the different strains of malware, the different motivations, and the methodologies. When we're talking about the actual types of malware out there, there's a huge amount of crossover. What we see is that there are different skill sets within this environment, and the different actors utilize each other's skills to build their tools and amplify their capabilities. So we often see these crossovers between different malwares. In terms of motivations, it can be anything from just chasing that money, they want big incomes, right the way through to supporting particular causes and geopolitics. And then when it comes to methodologies, ransomware as a service is obviously a big issue. But it's, you know, it's a typical business approach. They're just applying a methodology to amplify their income. It's like a reseller approach. Why wouldn't you? They're entrepreneurs at the end of the day. So in terms of ransomware, probably the best one to talk about at the moment is Conti. As we know, that is, I would say, the ransomware of the moment. And it very much fits the bill of what I've just explained. We see multiple crossovers with the Conti actors and various other ransomwares. There's Doppelpaymer, there's Revil, there's, oh goodness me, they're all up there in the slide, Astrolocker, multiple crossovers. The collection of data we've been able to achieve has shown us this within our tools. It's also fits the profile of the ransomware as a service business model. And then when it comes to motivation, there's also the geopolitical aspect. As many of you know, the Conti actors at the start of the war in Ukraine, they came out and shared their allegiance to Russia. Shortly after that, a do-gooder out there decided to hack them and conveniently shared a lot of information across the world. Well, we looked at that information and we saw some incredibly interesting things. Further expanded our knowledge of the actual networks, their methodologies, and it also highlighted the fact that they will share their experiences, not just in terms of their skills for business purposes, but also for geopolitical warfare. So looking at our investigation solutions then, like I said before, we will work hand in hand with you on your actual investigations, supporting you as you go. And we've done this in many, many situations with many customers across the globe. But I would like to tell you specifically about this investigation here, which involved the Glupteba malware. The reason I like to use this example is because it shows the sophistication levels that we're now dealing with when it comes to blockchain and crypto investigations. Now, this investigation was with Google and other law enforcement, and it was a malware that was creating a botnet infecting hundreds and thousands of computers across the world. And this malware was operating in a way that it stole credentials, and it was also using the processing power to mine cryptocurrency. But what was particularly interesting about this malware was it was also using the Bitcoin blockchain to maintain the survival of its command and control servers. And what it was doing was the code was written in a way that if there was a problem, it would activate a transaction, and that transaction would subsequently activate the new domain that would then support the command and control structure. Incredibly interesting investigation for us, but again, because of our capabilities and the data access that we had, we were able to support this investigation. Like any botnet, it didn't stay down long, but nonetheless, it was impactful in itself. Under investigations, I just also want to mention some of the specialist tools elements. Now, what we do at Chainalysis is if there is a problem and we don't have a solution, then we will build one. And this is what we also do in investigations. If we see an issue that we aren't necessarily doing very well, then we will focus on that and build new solutions. And at the moment, we're very focused on such things as illicit tax profiles. We're working with partners, we're looking at new data solutions, and we're looking to try and find ways to prioritize, do that intelligence phase work to identify the high value illicit tax profiles out there. Very topical issue at the moment. Another topical issue is around NFTs. As we know, they are being used very much in support of money laundering capabilities, and we want to position ourselves in a way that we can spot that, being ahead of the game, basically, and being able to spot that and help you from an intelligence perspective. But we also want to help legitimate individuals and businesses who want to get involved in this NFT world. And again, our solutions will contribute to that. And the same when it comes to investments. There's a lot of business out there who are wanting to invest in the world of cryptocurrency more generally. So we're working on enhanced due diligence solutions that will not only, from an investigative standpoint, allow us to spot high-risk exposure profiles at an early stage, but will also help businesses and others out there operate in this environment safely. And under investigations, the last thing I wanted to mention was expert witness testimony. I've already talked about helping prepare information for court and supporting in terms of the witness statements in respect of investigations themselves. But I also wanted to highlight expert witness testimony, this being a little bit different in that it is unbiased testimony when we've not been involved in an investigation, where we can come to the courts, we can explain how the ecosystem and all the different processes work to enable those involved in the judicial process to make the right decisions. Further solutions that we have are our advisory solutions. Again, there are a multitude of options, but I wanted to talk to you about a couple of them. The first being research. And what we will do is we will not just investigate on the blockchain, we will look at the entire topic and we will research and explore that in whichever way you need us to. This example here relates to a location in Russia called Federation Tower. Now, we came across this as a result of some analysis that we did in our data. We wanted to just look and see what was going on in certain typologies. And what we discovered was that when it came to illicit finances, there were, in fact, only a very small number of deposit addresses that were responsible for a large percentage of the illicit exposure that was out there. So we started to dig into that data, look at those deposit addresses a lot more closely. And what we saw was very interesting. In particular, 11 addresses that linked to an exchange called SUEX. And when we explored SUEX further, we discovered that the illicit exposure profile for this exchange was quite frightening. And a large percentage of the transactions that they were facilitating were linked to illicit activity. And we started looking at that a little bit closer, shared that information. As many of you know, the SUEX and the addresses that we identified have since been sanctioned. Through the further research we did in an advisory capacity, we identified another exchange, Chatex. Chatex, it turned out, was the same owner as SUEX, and its exposure profile was equally frightening. And then we discovered that both of them were in fact located in Federation Tower. So we started looking closer at the other exchanges in this location. And again, we found many, many more. And it turns out that it is in fact a hotbed of illicit exchange activity. It also turns out that the perpetrator of Glupteba botnet that I spoke about also operating from the same location. You'll also have heard of Garantex and Hydra. More of that came from our research. Garantex had a nasty illicit exposure profile, very much linked to Hydra, and again, our research was able to support the further sanctionings of both those entities. Capacity building, I really wanted to mention this because it underpins everything that we do in investigations and special programs. We want to share our knowledge with you. We want to help investigators and intelligence officers work the investigation through to the ultimate goal. We'll run trainings and workshops. We'll help you understand our specialist capabilities. And like I said, we'll do that end to end, all the way to the prosecution phase, if that's what's needed. So the last thing I wanted to mention was crypto incident response. As I've already mentioned with DPRK, and there are more, the situation with hacks is becoming more and more of an issue. And in fact, in 2021, digital thieves, it's up there on the screen, they stole at least 3.2 billion worth of crypto. And this year is going to be another bumper year. Already with the Ronin hack, that was one hack alone, 25 million, I think it turned out to be, and that's a significant figure and growing. So what we've decided to do is we've decided to work much, much more closely, or provide an offering to work much more closely with businesses in order to try and deal with this. And the reason for this is that when a hack happens, there's what we call the golden hours. It's that initial period, that first few hours, where the funds are moving at pace across bridges, across mixing services, all the complex issues that we're able to provide support with. And we need to be involved at that early stages if we're going to stop those funds getting to their destinations. And just thinking about DPRK alone and the impact of those funds reaching the destinations, in terms of nuclear proliferation, and it's incredibly important. So we want to help. So we've launched a new offering. It went live last week, and we will support you. We will be there 24/7. You can call anytime, night or day, hotline to Chainalysis, and we will respond, and we will leverage every capability we have, working with exchanges, working with our law enforcement partners, to stop those funds. And I can say already that we're seeing huge success. So that's all I have time to tell you about today, all the things, investigations and special programs. But I will be around all day. We have a little booth outside as well, and the team is here, and we can share further information if you pass by. I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much.